Greeting hunters, and welcome back to another episode of Monster Field Guide, the show where I catalog the monsters in Monster Hunter World. Today we've set our arms free because we're covering the bicep on legs, Deviljho. This walking pickle is the strongest monster I've covered to date, and arguably the definitive strongest brute wyvern in Monster Hunter, period. This monster hails from Monster Hunter 3, and has been a staple ever since. Now what makes this guy so strong? Well, stay right there and I'll tell you, but first, let's get to that name. Deviljho has one of the most straightforward names. First is Devil, an English word that represents the monster's terrifying design and behavior. But it's this Joe part that's a little more interesting. While I fancy it more of a Joseph than a Jonathan, it's pretty much just a unique way of spelling jaw, considering its Japanese name, Deviljho, meaning evil jaw, hence why it's also evil in the word devil. And speaking of jaw, let's look at that. You may notice these spikes and think, oh, these are spikes used to protect its jaw. Because after all, real-life predators have to be careful about protecting their jaws, and if they break, they're screwed. Well, actually, it's teeth. Yeah. As Deviljho grows, it grows new teeth that push out its old teeth, tearing through its own face before it heals over. This makes it resemble the helicopteran, an extinct shark-like species whose teeth grow at a rapid rate. This rapid growth is a result of its most dangerous feature, its insanely high metabolism. This devilish Joseph never stops eating. It can. They're so huge that they need to constantly consume or they'll die. Heck, its own saliva has become slightly acidic so it can melt through the scaled plating and get to the Tootsie Pops inside.
1, 2, 3.
This vicious cycle does come with a benefit. This dirty bull gives it massive gains. You see those red stripes? That's muscle. It's literally growing out of its skin. With this massive strength, Deviljho can physically overpower almost every monster. With its muscles and berserker rage, it barrels through monster attacks and slams its targets around like a certain rage-filled greed monster. Except for Odogaron. Put him down. He's just a boy. You get over here. If you think you're safe from this guy because you're all the way over there, well, think again, because Deviljho has a very interesting power, and in order to explain that, I need to talk about a game mechanic. Deviljho spews a dark red gas known as dragon energy. Well, in-game, if you're hit by this, you gain the Dragon Blight status, which prevents you from building status ailments or elemental damage, meaning your attacks can't, say, poison the monster or hit him with fire damage. This gives the theory that the dragon energy is a specialized aerosolized paralytic venom that can shut down the various organs and sacs that monsters deploy as defense mechanisms against their opponents and potential predators. But nothing stops the hungry jaws of the Deviljho. Deviljho can inhabit any environment it chooses, becoming the dominant species barring some special monsters I'll discuss soon. It can deplete an entire ecosystem of life if it stayed in any one area, so it roams everywhere to constantly find new food to eat. Lastly, Deviljho was brought to world to be a terrifying force of nature, demonstrating the impact that invasive species have on environments. And I do mean invasive, because this popular monster was the first monster released as post-launch content for the game, coming out a couple months after the game's initial release. Deviljho was also intended to be the rival of next week's monster, the bombarding wyvern, Betelgeuse.